Welcome to Retro Scale Modelling. For my next build, I'm building this Airfix 172 Havilland Vampire T.11. Now, this is a starter kit. The box has been bashed about a bit. I've had this in my stash for a long time, and since I'm doing 172s, I thought I would do this little kit. So, in the box, we have 3 sprues. So it's a basic simple kit which you expect for your starter kits. Not a bad little size for a small fighter jet like the Vampire. I've already primed them, as you can see. There's the canopy, which looks to be nicely moulded. The decals are a very simple basic affair. And the instructions are the old type of instructions for Airfix. So it's an older kit. So just 2 pages with a couple of panels. There's not much going on with the kit. So it all depends on what the builder wants to put in it, really. And your painting instructions are on the back of these kits here. So I am going to do it in the silver. I was thinking about doing it in a camo, but I thought, nah, this is just going to be a really quick build, so I'll just do it in the one colour. So let's get on with it. So to begin with, I'm using Rebel Aquacolor 08 matte black, and this is for the side of the seats and the jogs, control stick grip. For the seats, it's Rebel Aquacolor 84 leather brown, and that's for the seat padding. And the actual framework is Rebel Aquacolor 76 light grey, and that's going to be for the side walls of the cockpit as well as the control area. I'm placing the control panel decal on now, and I'm doing this on the sprue like I normally do on small areas. The reason for that is it's easier to hold the part in place. And when the paint's dried, it's time to begin the actual assembly. The seats fit in with 2 little recess points on the bottom plate of the cockpit there, and they just slot in. The control stick's next, which goes right in front of the seats. And I'm just touching up a little bit of paint here that I missed. For the trigger action, I'm using 36 Carmine Red. I'm also using the same colour to place on the little dots and markings on the side of the chair. Also using Rebel Aquacolor 12 yellow as well for the side of the chair. The air intakes are Rebel Aquacolor 97. In fact, this is the main colour of the entire build. So anytime you see me putting on silver, you'll notice that. Also on the canopy, which I'm doing now, so I'm just freehanding painting the canopy, just following the lines on the canopy in one smooth motion. For the tyres, I'm using Life Colours UA733 black rubber shades tyre black, and this is an excellent colour to assimilate actual tyres and any rubber parts that you're doing on your kit. So it's back onto the instrument panel now, and now the decal's dried, I'm just adding on all the 2 little bits of heads-up display, and then it's time to attach them to the actual cockpit. Also getting attached is the back plate, and then the front plate is attached as well. This goes at an angle, so just be careful that you get the location point sorted out. So that's the cockpit all done, ready to go in. And now for the cockpit to go inside the fuselage, it fits in rather easily. The location points for that are well defined. So you need a lot of weight in the nose cone if you're having the wheels down, so I'm using liquid gravity here. But you really want to be careful when you're using this. Let me explain. Well, as you've seen, I put in the liquid gravity, and stupidly I've put in too much. So I've put it over the actual line here. Now unfortunately it's set solid and I cannot get it out. This happened yesterday, so I've done the same on this side, and instead of trying to get this side out, I'll try and get this side out, because as it stands at the moment, I'm going to try and close it. You can see I can't because I've got too much weight in now. So I'm just going to see if I can get this out. I mean, it is really solid, and I've been trying and trying. I'm just trying to pick it out, and this is going to take a long time to do. As you see, it's absolutely solid in here. Well, I filed it down using just standard little files, and I've got to a stage where it's not brilliant. I can't file it anymore without damaging the plastic, and same on that side. So if I join it together, there's still a gap, as you can see here. Just stick it in the location point properly. So there's still a bit of a gap there, not huge as it was before, bigger on the underside. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to live with that. I'll bond this together. I'll do it in stages to that point, and then once it's bonded, I'll fill it in. So it's going to have a slightly bigger nose, fatter nose, but hopefully I can get it so that it looks natural. But I'm not going to give up on this, and it's good to see mistakes getting made and how people rectify them. A lot of people would probably just chuck it at this point, or try and get some super glue remover. I don't have any, that's why I have not used it. So I'll go and bond this together. I'm bonding it in the normal way, just with a little bit of cement, and just trying to get it together. So that's it glued. I'll wait until the glue sets. So you can still see quite a large gap there, which I'm confident I can fill in, but more importantly the smaller gap there. So it's bonded now, so I'm going to take my filler. This is melted down sprue with normal cement, and what you do is you get some old sprue like this and just cut it down into little pieces, stick it in a jar. I'm using an old Tamiya extra thin pot, and then pour in cement. Now I use the Airfix and Tamiya cement that come with the starter kit, and I fill up about halfway with plastic and then top it all off with the cement. It takes a few days for it all to melt down, but then you get a runny consistency like this, and this will act as a filler as well as a bonding agent, and it's very easily sanded down because it is just plastic at the end of the day, and it welds together really well because this is what the cement's designed to do. And once I've got enough on, I'll take out a paint stirrer, but any thin piece of card, metal or whatever will do, and I'm just spreading that over into the gap. Now don't worry if you have put on too much, because it will sand down, and it doesn't take that long to dry either. It takes about 40 minutes for it to dry fully in order to get it to the stage where you can sand down juicing. So I'm just going to keep on applying this and filling the gap, because the bottom gap is quite big. you'll have to wait until it settles, because that gap may open up. You can see it's starting to open up there. It's just because it's filling in that huge gap. So I'll carry on with this, and once it's all hardened, I'll go to the sanding process. So the filler's dried now. I haven't taken the clamps off yet. Have a look. So there's a little bit of a gap there. See that? Just let me point it out. And once I put this piece in, that will be filled up. So just a small little gap there, which is easy enough to sort out. I've got to sand this down and try and get it back into shape. So I'm using a sanding stick. This was by Havilland Alloys Flexifile. These are very, very good. There's a rough part on this side and a smoother part on this side, so I'm going to start off with the rough and just lightly go over it. So that's the rough sand work done. So I'm just going down the grate now and starting to just polish it up slightly. And now going down to extra fine. So there we have it there. And what we'll do now is paint it. And I'm just using a grey paint here. This is Rebel Aquacolor 57 grey. You can paint it in primer and whatever. And this will just show me if there's any more gaps to fill in. So you can see it's a different colour from the actual primer itself, but that's okay. When you paint it after you've filled something, it just gives that a little bit extra to show you if there's anything else that needs filling. And I can already see two little parts that do actually need filling. And there's a little part here and a little part there. And I'll fill that up later on. And I'll use a Villaggio filler for that, because it's only a tiny little speck. And the other fills are a bit more aggressive, and you don't need it for those tiny little marks. So that's that. So that's worked out okay. So now I can get on with the rest of the build. So I'm assembling the air intakes for the front of the aircraft, and there's a little cap that goes at the end there, a little rotating fan, and that just fits in. Next to it are the booms, and they just go together easily, just the two halves together. Part of the landing gear gets fitted here, so I'm just pre-painting this before I fit the struts. And once the glue paint's dried, just putting in the struts, and then the supporting wing at the back. And then it was time to put the two booms together with the supporting wing, and they should just slot in. Well, they did for me anyway. It didn't take much effort to get them together. So now I'm putting the air intake into the actual model itself, and this just pushes in. There's two recesses that just pushes into. It should line up with the front part of the vent, but I put mine in before I put the vent on, just to make sure I could get it in. Doesn't really matter which way you do it, because the markings where it has to go is very clear. Next to go in is the exhaust port and cap, and that just fits in at the back of it. Then I'm painting the exhaust port in Tamiya's XF 56 metallic grey, and that's just the ring around the bottom of the exhaust port. Time to fit the wings, and these fit onto where the air intake is. The fit was excellent. You may have to press slightly firm to get it to go into place, but apart from that, it was okay. And next was the front landing gear housing. Again, no fitting issues, just popped in. A little bit of pressure is required to hold it in place. Next to go in is the tail and booms. These fit on the inside of the wing. Now you have to put this on before you put in the other halves of the wing. This part is crucial because you will not be able to fit the boom if you put the two wing parts together first. So make sure you look at the instructions. They fit in really well. The recess points are really easy to follow, but you must do it the way the instructions tell you to do it, or you'll never get it fitted. So now the booms are fitted, I'm just putting in the other part of the wing. And now it's carrying on with painting. I was going to put paint on the yellow bands. I started painting them, then I decided I'll use some decals to put them on. So the little yellow markings that I did put on, I'm just painting them over with the silver colour. Once that was dry, it's time to put in the landing gear. So the front one is first to go in. The location for that is nice and simple to follow, and it just sits right into the cavity. Then the other step was to put on the covers for the main wings, on the main gear underneath the wings. Be careful of the position in here. They sit just slightly beside the boom as you put them on the strap. And then it's time to do the canopy. Now I decided to build the canopy, put it together before I put it on the aircraft. I sort of had a dry fit, and I figured out that it'd be better to build it like this before putting it on, then putting it all in one go. So this is what I did. So after the glue had dried, it was just a simple case of dropping it onto the aircraft. And then it was a coat of pledge cleared for varnish, and I put this all over before it was time to put on the decals. So it's just a liberal coat of this varnish all over the aircraft. Then it was time to put on the decals. I've got this fast forwarded like I normally do, but I'm putting it on slightly the speed slightly more. This is because I did actually change my mind what decals I'm putting on. The reason behind it, well, there's various reasons behind it, but I did change my mind. So I got the decals on, then it was just time to touch up. The aircraft is almost, the model sorry, is almost finished at this point before I changed my mind what I was doing. Well, I've decided to change the decals. I'm taking off the Kiwi New Zealand decals and I'm putting on RAF. And how I've done that is I haven't got any decal remover, so I've just painted over the boom markings here, and as well as the underside. I'm just waiting on them drying. And what I've got around me here at the moment is various decals from all kits. So I'm putting a yellow band on here. The nose tip will be, the flash will be painted black, and the yellow band is the decals there, that'll go there. And these are from an old decal sheet that I've just cut out, the yellow bits. Now obviously the cross box here is going to have to be changed, so I've got an old decal sheet here, so I'm just seeing whether I can get away with that one. It's a little bit thicker, the line, than the other one, but I think I'll get away with it because of it. If I make the two of them the same on each side, it should be alright. So I'm going to cut these out, and once the paint's dry I'll get on to putting them in. So I'm placing the decals on now, and these are going on the normal way, like the other ones. The only difference is this is the second lot of decals I'm putting on. The two rounders on the wing were a little bit too big to paint over, so I decided to place the decals directly on top of them. It did work, but you need patience to do it. You have to get them aligned exactly how they are on the model. So I'm coming to the end of this build. I've got one thing to do after these decals, but before I get into that, this kit was a good kit to build, even though I made a couple of mistakes with the filling with the liquid gravity and of course the decals, which I'm doing now. It's good to show you these mistakes. Not everyone will do a good job 100% of the time. Everyone won't. And it's good to show them. It's to show everyone how a particular person deals with it. Now, what I did may not necessarily be the right way or the proper way, but it worked for me, and it could well work for you, or you can build on that technique. Whatever you want to do, really. That's the whole point of this hobby, as long as you enjoy it. And even though I made these mistakes, I still enjoyed this build. I would recommend this build, this kit, to anyone, beginners and advanced alike. As you can see, you can get so much into it. Now, so going back to the kit, and then I'm just painting on 08 matte black by Rebel Aqua Colour, and this is the black flash at the front. So I just masked off the area that I wanted to be painted, and I'm just painting it in. Now, the best way to do this, it really is paint from the tape onto the model. Don't ride up the tape while you're painting. So paint inwards. Also, it's good if you do a little bit of paint blocking as well, especially if the areas are slightly uneven. I didn't have to do it then, just because it's a really smooth part. But you may have to put a little bit of varnish on beforehand, or indeed the same colour, just to block out the paint. And that way you won't get any paint bleeds. So why don't you check out my other videos on the channel? If you liked what you see, subscribe, hit the like button, and of course you can leave a comment. But that's all for me for today. Check out all my other videos. So thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.